a town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Hump Day Wednesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. I am Josh Hennig, hanging out with you. And, well, Joel Embiid is the league MVP. Phillies are currently winning in Los Angeles in the 7th inning. We'll get to you all of that as well. Plus, it is a Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg will join me coming up in about 20 minutes from now. We'll get his thoughts on the Eagles draft. And you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. That is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app. It's powered by First Bank of Seattle. Joel Embiid is the league MVP. It finally happened. But what does it really mean for the Sixers moving forward? I think that Joel Embiid winning the MVP has a certain amount of relevance. And here's why. We have spent so much time in this part of the country, the Philadelphia, South Jersey, Delco, wherever you're from. We appreciate you listening to 97.3 ESPN. We spent a huge portion of the last several years debating the merits of the process. And it has become to the level of a political debate. It has gone from just being about sports, and it has become about what side were you on. I think that the problem right now is that people don't want to acknowledge that the debate even happened. The truth is that the original purpose of the process was fulfilled last night. Whether you were on board with it or not, you have to admit that the purpose and value and intent of Sam Hinkie's vision came to pass last night. Because at the end of the day, the process, the Sixers rebuild, whatever you want to refer to it as, the tank job, was never about just winning championships. It was about going out of your way to find a superstar caliber player, to find you a top 10 player in the league so you can rebuild this franchise. A franchise that in its greatest eras of success always had a superstar player at the forefront. The 1960s, they had Wilt. The late 70s into the mid 80s, they had Julius Erving. 99 to about 2003 was a little run for Allen Iverson. And now it's Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid winning MVP last night was the payoff for the tanking. Now, look, there were three different sides on the process all along. You had the people who were on board and loved the idea because they were tired of being in mediocrity. Then you had the people who were 100% against it, who said, this is stupid. You play to win the game. I can't stand this losing on purpose. You're drafting a bunch of injured guys every year. And then you had the third group of people, which I fell into, which was, I understood the process. I just didn't like the execution of it. Like, for example, drafting Okafor when in theory you could have traded down out of that pick. Because remember, Porzingis didn't want to come to Philadelphia. So instead of having your third big man, you could have traded down, maybe got some more draft assets. Just my opinion, not that I'm right or any of those perspectives were explicitly right, because the people who were on the board with the process, let's be realistic. Some of them were on board the process because they were so tired of watching a Sixers team that nobody cared about. And the people who were against the process just did not believe in the idea of tanking and not trying to win games. And they looked at the people who were involved in that whole situation in a very negative light. But I feel like I can be rational because I didn't hate the process, but I wasn't fully on board with every aspect of it. And I can say today it worked. Joel Embiid said it himself that winning the MVP was, for him, his life's like a movie. And if you look at Joel, you realize that him winning MVP means a lot to people like him. You know, we have now had multiple people over the last several years who were not born in this country, on this continent, who have won the MVP. It was Giannis Antetokounmpo, it was Nikola Jokic, and now it's Joel Embiid. And it's an amazing testament to not just Embiid working his tail off, or Giannis or Jokic working their tail off to get to America to have this success. Giannis, not a top 10 pick, came out of nowhere. Jokic, second round draft pick. Joel Embiid didn't play basketball for about the first 14 years of his life. These are examples of really what we're supposed to love in sport, which is people coming from nothing and making something of themselves. But it's also a sign of something else. The league and the basketball world is going through a transition. And you started seeing it this postseason, as you've heard here on 97.3 ESPN FM with the Sixers playoff run and the NBA playoffs as a whole. You look at teams like the Suns being down 0-2. You look at Milwaukee getting knocked out in the first round. The game is changing. The league is making a turn. You know, you have LeBron versus Steph in the second round. This is probably the last time we may ever see LeBron James versus Stephen Curry in a playoff matchup, considering where both of them are in their careers and the uncertainty about both of their professional futures. The league is transitioning to a new breed of superstar. And something Mike Gill brought up on the Sports Bash earlier today that I wanted to hit on here that stands out to me about Embiid. Unless LeBron or Steph get to the NBA Finals, this is going to be the year we find out if one of these up-and-coming star players can actually win a championship. Jokic has never gotten to an NBA Finals. Embiid has never got out of the second round. Jason Tatum lost in the NBA Finals last year. Jimmy Butler lost in the NBA Finals a couple of years ago. And then the Knicks, well, they haven't been to the NBA Finals since Allen Houston and Larry Johnson were running around in those Knicks uniforms. That was 1999, if I remember correctly. So you're talking about a really long time ago for all of these guys and the success of these teams and these players. It's been a long wait for Sixer fans, Nugget fans haven't been to the NBA Finals. Can't even say they win that long. For the Knicks, they've been waiting for a long time as well. And so we're seeing a potential change in the NBA landscape. We're seeing a potential shift in how the league operates, how it functions, who its star players are. The Suns don't have enough depth. They're probably going to lose that series in 5 or 6 games. And Chris Paul being injured just makes the situation worse for them. The Nuggets are probably going to be in the conference finals. And the Nuggets are going to have to beat either Steph or LeBron. If it's Steph, then I think the biggest problem for the Nuggets is going to be how do they stop the Warriors' three-point shooting attack? If it's LeBron and the Lakers, it basically comes down to Anthony Davis versus Nikola Jokic, and then LeBron can play second fiddle at that point. In the Eastern Conference, I'm starting to lose confidence in the Miami Heat, to be honest with you guys. If Jimmy Butler is going to be injured, I don't know how that team sustains any winning moving forward. And then you might have the Knicks in the conference finals. And then for the Sixers already stole home court advantage from the Celtics. Even if the Celtics win tonight, it's no guarantee that Boston is going to win this series for two reasons. One, because they have now choked away two different games in the postseason, two different games they should have won, could have won, were anticipated to win, but they couldn't win because they had a letdown. Joe Mazzulla has been out-coached in the postseason multiple times. I have a lot of doubts about Boston's ability to consistently win moving forward. I think the interesting thing about Embiid winning MVP last night is that Embiid now has elevated his resume. He has elevated how the league views him because of that one award. And now Joel Embiid, he wants to do more. He wants to win more. Tim Bontemps, ESPN NBA reporter earlier today on SportsCenter, said this.
Both last night in the video that the Sixers put out of him celebrating with his teammates and getting emotional. He admitted he didn't expect to cry after he got the award. And this morning, seeing him talk about it too, it really meant a lot to Embiid. This is a guy who the first 2 years of his career, he didn't play a single game because of foot injuries. He's had to deal with injuries throughout his career. He was a runner-up to Nikola Jokic both of the last 2 years. Last year in particular, he thought was going to be his year to win the MVP award. The year before, he had a crazy fall in Washington and missed 6 weeks, or he might have won it that year. So to finally break through and win that award while also being up 1-0 for the first time in the Eastern Conference semifinals, a chance to finally advance past the second round of the playoffs for the first time of his career. Things are lining up exactly how Joel Embiid has hoped they would for a long time.
Starting to line up. I asked the question yesterday. I'll ask it again today. Do you guys out there text in at 609-403-0973? Your DMs in the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Could this be the year the Sixers finally get to the NBA Finals? Are things lining up? Embiid finally wins the MVP. Boston finally looks vulnerable. The Miami Heat, banged up team. Bunch of guys injured. Jimmy Butler's not healthy. The Knicks just took the game last night. The Knicks are nowhere as good as the Sixers are as an overall team. Is everything lining up for the Sixers the way it did for the Phillies last year, for the Eagles last season? Phillies, by the way, still lead 5-3, bottom of the seventh. They just brought Sir Anthony Dominguez into the game. It'll be interesting to see if things line up for the Sixers, because it's starting to feel that way. To me, Embiid is a symbol of not just that the process finally paid off, but he might be a symbol in the MVP. This very well may be the Sixers' year to finally get out of the second round and maybe even get to the NBA Finals. We'll get to the Eagles draft plus some of the Phillies coming up next. Dave Weinberg for a Weinberg Wednesday. They'll get you guys text messages a little bit later in the hour. The Power Hour, known as Game Night with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN FM. And don't forget the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
Tomorrow on ESPN Radio.
Steph's got it. He's double teamed. Draymond now pull three for the tie. No good.
LeBron James and the Lakers steal home court advantage away from the Warriors with a huge Game 1 win in San Francisco. How will Golden State respond? Game 2 of the Lakers and Warriors, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Listen to the NBA playoffs exclusively on 97.3 ESPN.
Right now, spring is at the Home Depot, and it's time to get growing. Whether you're planting vegetables or herbs, or just sprucing up your indoor space with lush 6-inch Vigoro Tropicals, we have what you need to get your season started. Visit your local Home Depot garden center today and shop our easy-to-grow, bigger, bolder tropicals, like peace lilies, dracaena, or ficus plants. Do your spring at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Product varies by store.
Welcome to Total Wine & More.
I'm looking for a whiskey.
You'll love this one.
Wow.
Find what you love what you find at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Do you know what brand sells the most work shoes in America? Skechers. Why? Skechers has the best looking safety toe and slip resistant shoes around. They've got superior quality and simply incredible prices, but many people get them just for the style. So you can enjoy tough, steel-toed protection and slip-resistant soles anywhere, even if you don't need them for work. And since they're Skechers, you know they're going to be comfortable with Skechers' exclusive air-cooled memory foam. Find your new pair of Skechers safety toe and slip-resistant work shoes at a Skechers store, at Skechers.com, or wherever work shoes are sold.
So you just used bug spray in your home. Now what? Well, between the waiting and waiting for things to dry up and keeping your family away from the mess, it hits you. You could have used Zevo. Unlike other bug sprays that stick around, Zevo goes from kill to clean in seconds. Plus, it's safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Welcome to America, the land of junk sleep, where it's bedtime, but you're double booked. Here, there's always one more deadline to meet, episode to watch, or meme to share. The world may not want you to sleep, but we do. Only the sleep experts at Mattress Firm can help you find the right bed at the right price. Unjunk your sleep. In store or online at mattressfirm.com today.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper, and you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Hey, take me out of my old car. Get me out of this heap. Approve my credit and cut me some slack. I need a dealer that's watching my back. I gotta make sure it's a great deal. All I have down is my trade. 'Cause I need a great deal on a brand new car.
Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released. With 0 down and 2.9% financing for 48 months or no payments for 90 days on every 2023 Kia Forte at Soul in stock. Have a job clearing $350 per week? Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today. So bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia and drive home in a brand new Kia with peace of mind. Matt Blatt Kia's exclusive 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit and all qualified. 2778 per thousand finance. Go to mattblattkia.com for complete details or call 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Expires 4/30/23. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Harper Township.
Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Phillies are attempting to win this final game in Los Angeles. A sac fly given up by Dominguez is 5-4, the last score I saw on the screen. Phillies got basically smacked in the face for 2 games by the Dodgers offense as they try to win the go away afternoon game. We'll keep you updated here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. But right now, it is a Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg, of course, extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. He joins us for another edition of Weinberg Wednesday here on Game Night. Dave, welcome back. How are you doing on this first Wednesday of May?
A little wetter than I anticipated. I was expecting, April showers being May flowers, but I'm still seeing showers, unfortunately.
Well, it feels more like April didn't have the showers, so May is getting the showers to make up for the flowers you'll get from Memorial Day weekend.
That could be, yeah, hopefully.
Obviously, this time of year, a lot of people are still excited about the Eagles draft, Dave Weinberg. So I want to ask you, as someone who's seen a lot of Eagles drafts, how surprising was it to see about 20 million players taken from one school over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, that was an all Georgia draft pretty much for the Eagles. And I guess it kind of reflects their new philosophy. Not necessarily new, but it seems like they really concentrate as much as they can, especially in the earlier rounds, on players from successful programs or from big-time leagues like the SEC. To like Howie had often mentioned that that these guys are used to playing in big games in front of huge crowds, and the level of competition is tremendous. So there's really not. I mean, I kind of disagree with him saying that there's not as big of a jump to the NFL. It's still a pretty big one, but I think playing in that kind of atmosphere definitely helps them make the adjustment. That's for sure.
So Jalen Carter falls to the Eagles, and they walk away with Nolan Smith. What are your thoughts on those two guys coming to the Birds?
Yeah, it's great. It's great additions, but I hate to be like the Debbie Downer here, but I'm just the pessimist in me or the realist in me. I kind of wonder why they were there. Like Jalen Carter's, everybody's raving him as the most talented player in the draft. Well, why was he there at 9 then? I know some teams obviously wanted quarterbacks, but for him to slide that much kind of makes me wonder if those off the field incidents or showing up out of shape to his pro day, maybe that turned some people off. I don't know. And the same with Nolan Smith, like he was considered like, a top edge rusher. Why was he there at 30? There were some people talking about the Eagles taking him at 10. But I'm sure the Eagles did their homework and they did their due diligence. So, if those guys turn out to be, there's very well could turn out to be fantastic picks. I mean, they'll never know for a couple of years yet, but on paper, that looks pretty good for them.
I mean, to me, I think Nolan Smith was being overrated in a lot of mock drafts. I mean, the guy legitimately is about, if he's supposed to be an edge rusher, the guy's lighter than Hassan Reddick is, like weight-wise.
True.
So it's like, I was always going to have a problem with him at 10th overall anyway, just me. I just feel that Jalen Carter is kind of what you said, Dave, that, teams were turned off by certain things. And you know how it is. Some teams, no matter how good a player is, they just decide he's not in our on our board, basically. Remember DK Metcalf, very different situation, obviously, but there were teams that had a total red X on him medically with the neck issue. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of those teams ahead of the Eagles just made up their mind ahead of time and just said, like you said, hey, we're going to go quarterback, or hey, we're just going to take him out of the conversation. Because you can't tell me that Bijan Robinson going to the Falcons made more sense than Carter going to the Falcons for a team that, frankly, was really bad on defense last year in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple teams that really passed. I didn't quite understand. Falcons, Lions, Bears, even allowing Eagles to to take their pick to get him.
Dave, nobody understands what the Lions did in the first round except the Lions. Okay.
Yeah, true. But they got the Eagles DeAndre Swift, so I guess that works out for him, right?
Well, I mean, what do you do, Dave? I mean, listen, it's great that you have DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny, but they've both been injured multiple times over the last few years.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it was just like an opportunity that he saw. I mean, I don't know what would have happened if Bijan Robinson was there, but I think they just figured there was an opportunity there to add a very talented back when healthy, and so they decided to take it. Swift burned the Eagles a couple of times, so maybe that had some factor into what they were doing. They know how good he can be, so maybe that's why they got him. I'm not sure.
When you think about what the Eagles came out of the draft with, right? Multiple defensive players, a running back being traded for. Do you give them a thumbs up, a thumbs down? Like, how are you feeling? Like, do you think Howie and the Eagles did enough over that 3-day period?
Again, I mean, I'm not real big on like draft day grades. I know a lot of people do it, and I guess most people are giving them an A or thumbs up, whatever you want to give it. It figures. I mean, they filled a lot of needs and they made some great moves, and so if they pan out, then yeah, it's a fantastic draft for them. But they probably thought that taking Carson Wentz second overall was going to be like the pick of the century too. That didn't turn out so well. And there's some if you look back 3 years ago, I guess you usually wait 3 years to judge a draft, and the Eagles draft from 2020. I don't think any of those guys are still on the team, are they? I might be wrong, but not many. I think it was the Andre Dillard draft, if I'm not mistaken.
2019. 2019 would be.
Was that Dillard? Who was 2020? Do you remember?
Rager was 2020 first round.
Okay.
Hurts was 2020 second round.
Okay. Well, then either one.
Well, listen, 2 first round picks, one in each of the back-to-back years, are both no longer here. So, I mean, of course, this is the argument I get into the people all the time about those drafts, because Dave, you know how it is. When you go into those draft rooms, it's not just one guy making the decision all the time, and there's all kinds of speculation about
Oh, sure.
How much did Joe Douglas's draft board impact some of those decisions? There's speculation that Jeffrey Lurie wanted the Eagles to take J.J. Whiteside a few years ago. Like, that stuff, we don't really know. Like, there's going to need to be a 30 for 30 or some documentary like 20 years from now about the Eagles of the Howie Roseman era, because, I mean, Donnell Pumphrey was a complete bust, but Jalen Hurts has turned out to be an excellent second-round pick. Sayamalu and Mailata, they were both successful mid to late round picks. Jalen Mills was good for a hot minute. Like, some of these picks are like, that really went well. And other picks, like you said, Dillard and Rager, just kind of give the side eye to.
Yeah. I mean, you never really can tell. I mean, you like to think that your first round pick is a slam dunk, but as the Eagles and other teams have proven, that's not necessarily the case. I mean, you can just as well hit on an undrafted free agent like TJ Edwards or somebody like that nobody saw fit to draft. So yeah, it's a complete crapshoot. I mean, you like to think that the scouts and stuff, they've done their homework and they have a pretty good idea of what their board should look like and what they're going to go after. But until you get them on the field, until they actually play, you really don't know what you got.
By the way, I can confirm the entire 2019 Eagles draft class are all not with the team anymore. Andre Dillard, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Miles Sanders, Sharif Miller, Clayton Thorson. Ooh, Clayton Thorson. That's
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Northwestern quarterback, right?
Yeah, that didn't go too well.
No.
I think that was the moment when Howie realized that he needed to swallow his pride and stop talking about quarterback factories. After that
yeah, really. Are there any from the 2020 draft still on the team?
Well, aside from Jalen Hurts, he's on the team from 2020.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Rager, he's no longer here. Davion Taylor is still hanging around on like the practice squad. Does that count?
Sure.
Jack Driscoll is still on the team.
Okay. All right. Well, then, yeah. Okay. They're on the team. All right. Good.
Yeah. I mean, John Hightower, I don't even know John Hightower's in. Yeah, I don't think he's in the NFL anymore, honestly.
Yeah. Quez Watkins, right? Still on the team. Yeah.
Quez Watkins, he's still on the team. Sean Bradley's still on the team. I think Casey Toohill is still in Washington. And Prince Tenga Wanahu, I think he's on the Chiefs practice squad actually right now.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. I just remember it seems like there's every draft comes along and there's like a guy like in the second, third, fourth round. Like you said, Donnell Pumphrey was supposed to be the next Brian Westbrook. Kavon Wallace was supposed to be the next big thing at safety. And Sometimes they turn out to be that way, but more oftentimes they're disappointments. So it's going to be interesting to see how those mid to late round picks that they made over the weekend are going to pan out, if they're going to pan out or not.
Dave Weinberg joining us for a Weinberg Wednesday here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at Dave Weinberg 19 on Twitter. Dave, right now the Phillies are winning 5-4 in the bottom of the eighth. Bryce Harper is back. How are you feeling about that?
Is he 2 for? I think he's 2 for 2 with 2 walks today so far. From last when I was checking, yeah,
much better than last night.
yeah, really. 0 for 4, 3 Ks, yeah. I guess it just took him a game to get his feet wet again. I mean, I'm glad to have him back. I just don't understand the adulation about coming back from Tommy John as soon as he did. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
We got you, Dave. I think Dave froze there for a minute. We had him and then we lost him. So we'll try to cue Dave back up here. Literally the moment he said "you got me" is when we lost him. So we'll reconnect with Dave in just a moment. He was just making an interesting point. I was all ready to hear the point about the Tommy John surgery and everything, and he vanished. He froze, and his technology died on us. So we'll try to cue Dave Weinberg back up in just a moment here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Yeah, right now Phillies lead 5-4. Now they got 2 men on base with 1 out. Dodgers not going away in this game. Dodgers are still hanging around in this game. We'll see what happens there. They got Dave back in here. Dave, you were talking about Bryce Harper, and then we lost you. Do we have you now?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just not quite getting like the everybody's like, oh, what a tremendous hard worker coming back from Tommy John so quickly. The guy's not a pitcher, right? How many times did he have to throw that elbow? Like 5 a game, maybe? I mean, I don't.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just not getting the oh my gosh, look how quick he came back. I mean, he did come back quick, and that's tremendous. But it's not like he's got to throw 200 innings or anything as a first baseman or a DH doesn't have to throw it all. So and an outfielder even not that many. So I don't know. I mean, it's great to have him back, but I'm not quite getting the oh my gosh, I can't believe how fast he came back.
Well, I think people are reacting that way because how do I, if I can paraphrase what Giannis said, how do I say this without not making it personal? I think there's a lot of people in this world who are uneducated. And I think there's a lot of people who don't understand, Dave, you covered, for example, the Eagles over the course of 3 different decades. You saw guys get injured and you saw some guys recover faster than other guys. Like, it's not the craziest thing in the world. I think there's a lot of people out there who they have never personally had certain injuries, so they don't understand how the process works. And that I think that they get enamored with the idea of Harper was supposed to be back by the All-Star break, and instead he comes back on May 2nd. I think because they're misinformed and uneducated, they get all emotional about it.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, it does deserve credit. This is a pretty quick comeback, I guess. But it seems like that's the same way like it used to be with, like, let's say, torn ACLs. I mean, the recovery process, the operations is much different. This medicine is so far much more advanced than it was in, say, I don't know, even 10, 20 years ago, really. So,
right.
The advances they made, that probably had a factor in the way Bryce was able to come back. But I just like I said, pitchers are a different animal, and you can't really compare the two. It's completely different situations. But I mean, he does deserve credit for coming back. I just don't quite get the oh my gosh, unbelievable,
Well, I mean, look, between Harper coming back and Embiid winning the MVP last night, a lot of people are excited. So
understandably so, yeah, absolutely. And
I mean, listen,
is he playing tonight? I heard Embiid.
He is. So the latest is Embiid is on track to play tonight.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where apparently so just to pull the curtain back for the folks out there, it seems like that the reporting by people like Shams and Woj the reports came out maybe before the Sixers actually wanted that information out there. It's kind of, if you read between the lines, because when Embiid was doing the interview circuit today on television, he kept downplaying. It's like, oh, well, if they clear me, oh, well, if they say I can play, I'll play, so it looks like he's going to play. Doc Rivers
not that they need him or anything, but
well, Doc Rivers, it's funny you asked it because I just see the quote in front of me right now. Doc Rivers just told the media, I think so, I hope so, we'll see about Embiid tonight. So
that's a little different than what people are reporting. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know how it is, David. Sometimes, you got to be a little extra careful with these guys because at the end of the day, how many times people criticize the Sixers for, letting Embiid play when injured in the past, right? And now now the organization saying we're going to be extra safe. Like, I'd rather you be extra safe than let him go out there and get hurt again.
Especially after you won the first game without him. I mean, that gives you a little bit even more of a cushion, I would think.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know if they're going to win another game like that ever again, because I don't know if Harden's going to put up 45 points ever again in this series. But the thing I point to in the first game is Joel Mazzulla looks like a deer in the headlights. Like, I don't remember the last time I saw a professional coach on any level in a playoff game look that dazed, lost, and confused.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah. I was just amazed at Harden, though. I mean, everybody's is always down on the guy going to Vegas before the series, wearing that ridiculous outfit to the arena. But I mean, it's just like certain guys have these playoffs have been just so exciting to watch, not just the Sixers, but everybody. I mean, to see what Steph Curry did the other day and Jimmy Butler and now Harden, it's just been really cool to see guys come up with these superb performances under the most pressure possible. I just think it's really cool to watch.
Listen, all I know is if Harden has a bad game tonight, the Sixers need to send him on a one-way trip to Atlantic City after the game. That's all I know.
There you go.
Right?
That's right. Right. You're going to be in Vegas, but also come to AC. That's right. They'll be in Philly soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, the game's Friday. Game 3 is Friday night. So if Harden goes 6 for 20 tonight and has 6 turnovers, just give James a separate private plane, go to Atlantic City, get it out of his system, and come back so we can win game 3, right?
Yep. That's I do it often. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you, James Harden, and Michael Jordan at the poker table, right?
There you go. Yep.
I remember that was the criticism about Jordan years ago, that he left the Knicks game after the game, drove down to Atlantic City, and then went back and played the next day. I mean, people forget that these guys, you don't play professional sports if you're not a little bit of a unicorn. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, absolutely true. Very true. The stuff they do is, it's not like you and me. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not like me. I can't speak for anybody else, but Dave, before I let you go, I did want to ask you, now that we're in the month of May, I know for you, football kind of starts dying down. We're starting to get closer to the summer season. So, is this just like golfing season now for you? Like, are we going to ramp up hitting the golf courses locally? Is that what we're doing?
Usually, yeah. I mean, I'll play it a couple times a week, but it's about time to get my paddleboard out, my stand-up paddleboard. I've been doing that for about, I don't know, 10 years now. Oceans or the water's still a little bit too chilly for me, but hopefully by the middle of the month, I'll be back out there paddling around the Lobster House and all that stuff. And then I do a lot of bike riding too. So I've been on the bike a couple times already. So hoping to get a little more in. So yeah, May is when you really start to get outside more and, really enjoy the outdoors. Maybe you hit the beach towards the end of the month and take that first dip in the ocean, which is always special for me. And how about you? What do you do in May? Besides
this, what does Josh do when he's not at the studio?
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I'm getting my walks in, as I told you before.
Yep.
I mean, last night, I mean, the wind was a little cold for May 2nd, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was. It was brutal, actually. Yeah. Today was terrible too. Gosh.
Oh, I mean, today is just, it feels more like April than it does May, for goodness sake. I mean, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're just gonna have a mild summer and not a heat wave again. Maybe this is just a precursor to that.
That'd be nice.
All I know. Yeah, this time of month, it's kind of like, just trying to get outside when I can. I mean, I'm inside these four walls all day long, 6 days a week. I got to get myself outside and get some fresh air any way I can find an excuse to. You know what I mean?
Sure. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yep. I'm with you. Yep.
He's Dave Weinberg. Of course, we do Weinberg Wednesdays each week here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at Dave Weinberg 19. And check out his extra point columns over at 97.3ESPN.com. Dave, hopefully the weather clears up for you to get back outside tomorrow, all right?
Yeah, I'm hoping to play some golf. I can only hope.
Dave, have a good one.
Thanks,
Take care.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it as always. Talk to you next week.
Josh Hennig here, hanging out with you on a Wednesday night on 97.3 ESPN. We'll check on the text board. Coming up next, 609-403-0973. We got George from Summers Point, Dan and EHC. I see your guys' messages. I will get to you guys and more. Don't forget the DMs in the 97.3 ESPN mobile app as well, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Do the Phillies hang on to this game? I mean, it's not looking too good right now. End of the 8th, Dodgers up 6-5. Ah, man, what a frustrating game. You thought all along they were going to win. And right now, the Phillies are down to their potentially final 3 outs out in Los Angeles. We'll keep you updated here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. Of course, don't forget Sixers basketball tonight, 7:30 pregame coverage thanks to ESPN Radio. And then at 8 o'clock, Tom McGinnis calling all the action.
It's Sixers Celtics Game 2 tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Hard double A, layup up and good. Timeout Celtics, you betcha. And the crowd is on its feet.
It's Sixers playoff basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN, your play-by-play home for Sixers playoff basketball.
Matt Platt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot. Get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan. The all-new Matt Platt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or visit us online, mattplattnissan.com.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
To every woman with a will and a workbench, every mom with a miter saw she's not afraid to use, every daughter with a drill and the drive, to the women who get their nail guns together, the ones who are welding the gap, the same ones who DIY like no one's watching. At the Home Depot, we see the potential in you because you see the potential in everything. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
If you have certain chronic conditions such as heart disease, asthma, diabetes, and you're 19 years of age or older, 52,
36,
42, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'm going to ask my doctor
about getting vaccinated
with Prevnar 20.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Have you ever noticed that when the afternoon light hits your floors, you can see everything, including dust?
So much dust.
And that floor dust gets kicked up into the air, compromising the quality of air you and your family breathe. Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper is the fast and easy way to clean your floors with ultra-thick pads that trap and lock dust before it gets in the air. Just a couple minutes a day,
and dust is gone.
Swiffer Heavy Duty Sweeper. Proud partner of the American Lung Association.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
Welcome to Total Wine and More.
I'm looking for a whiskey.
You'll love this one.
Wow.
Find what you love what you find at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Why would someone looking for a mortgage at the Jersey Shore take a loan from a company in Detroit or North Carolina or some other far-off place? Online mortgages promise a lot, but don't always deliver. First Bank of Sea Isle City knows the Jersey Shore. We are local lenders. We use local appraisal financing in Cape May County. Don't take a chance. Local banking is better. Let us guide you. First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Latest is looks like Marcus Smart and Joel Embiid will both be back tonight. According to Joe Mazzulla, he says that Marcus Smart is good to go. And Doc Rivers says that barring any setbacks, Joel Embiid should be on the court tonight. Joel Embiid is actually there's video of him warming up as we speak. So, meanwhile, Phillies are losing 6-5 in the bottom of the ninth. Looks like they may lose this game, but Harper got on base. So Harper's been on base pretty much the whole day. It seems like. I think he's 3 for 3 with 2 walks at this point. Oh, that's a horrible swing and a miss. Everybody Castellanos. Keep you updated. If this Phillies game ends before I get off the radio, I'll tell you what the final score is. Right now, it's not looking too good for the Phillies. Down. Good job by Castellanos. You know, one of back swings and misses on a horrible swing and miss on a pitch. Second pitch, he watches the ball go by that he should have probably thrown. Oh my goodness. Over on the text score, 609-403-0973. George, from Summers Point chimes in and says, hey Josh, for me the real issue with the process is the Sixers missed out on too many of their draft choices that could have really made a team of superstars, picking Okafor, trading with Boston and getting Colts, etc. George Summers Point says, I think the process meant to make a team that would win multiple championships, and that aspect has failed. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Thanks always, George. A couple of things. one, I think that you are right. Some of the draft picks that they made are definitely questionable. I think a lot of people. I mentioned the Okafor pick earlier. To me, you know, I wouldn't have picked Okafor. I would have tried to trade out of that pick. I would have seen somebody willing to give up some draft capital. At the time, Sam Hinkie was on the GM. Sure, if they really wanted to, they could have found a way to make a pick to make it worth their while. The full thing had nothing to do with the process. The full trade was Brian Colangelo. Anything after Hinkie left was no longer the process. That was Colangelo. That was Colangelo being an idiot and trading with the team in Boston. He was never going to pick Fultz. He was always going to pick him. Danny Ainge always wanted to. And that they basically manipulated Colangelo into thinking he had to trade up to get that pick. That's what happened with that. So I can't blame that on the process. But you are right. Some of the missed picks during that run definitely came back to haunt us a little bit. And I think Okafor to me is the biggest thing. And I will contend with you, Jordan. The purpose of that, what we call the process, Sam Hinkie's plan, was not to win multiple championships. The purpose of the process was to find you a superstar, hopefully multiple superstars. The hope was that if you got 4 shots at the draft, if you get 4 shots, you can walk away with 2 star players. And for a little bit there, it looked like Embiid and Simmons were the outcome of that. Simmons was a multiple-time All-Star. Embiid was flourishing into an MVP candidate who finally won the MVP this year. The problem is number one, Hinkie never finished the process. He was ran out of town, and nobody knows what would have happened. We don't know if he would have picked Simmons, if he would have traded the pick. We don't know what Hinkie would have done, and we will never know because Colangelo took over and was a train wreck. Number two, the organization never promised multiple championships. The organization had a clear goal, was to find a superstar, to find a elite caliber player, a top 10 caliber guy. And because the whole plan went sideways with the multiple injuries, Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid, Jahlil Okafor, Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, everyone got injured. So who really knows what would have happened if those guys didn't get injured, when they did, how they did, when they were drafted? So I think, as I said, I understood the process personally. I didn't like it necessarily, but I understood what they were trying to do. And I think that the problem is that the process gets an incomplete grade. And the only thing that we know for sure to come out of the process is Joel Embiid. And if you're going just on the idea of the goal was to get a superstar player, you got that. The problem is now you got to get the next expectation. Now you got to win. And of course, that is back in tow tonight. Tom McGinnis on the call starting at 8 p.m. Pre-game coverage from ESPN Radio coming up at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN. By the way, Phillies have tied the game. Bryson Stott with a clutch hit. Bryce Harper scores. Maybe Phillies will win this. Dan EHT, just being a complete Negadelphia fan, says Sixers should just sit and be the rest of the postseason. He's so fragile, it's unbelievable. I wouldn't have him on the bench. Dan EHT, when you say stuff like that, you really don't sound smart. If Embiid is fragile, then Kevin Durant is fragile. Do we never play Kevin Durant ever again? Come on. Don't be irrational. You're making it like Embiid is injured all the time. He's injured often, but so is Kevin Durant. When you bench Kevin Durant, then I'll bench Joel Embiid. Sixers tonight versus the Celtics, Game 2 here on 97.3 ESPN. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great night, everybody.
Here's what you missed on Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
Shefty is like ball of energy, racing around with all his phones at one time, and he's got 8 million things going on. Woj is the opposite. Woj will be sitting in the room, he's eating, he's talking, he's chatting with everyone, and all of a sudden, and he'll get up and he'll walk out the door. A minute later on his Twitter feed, there's some enormous breaking story. I've come to learn when he leaves the room, something's about to happen.
Greeny, weekday mornings at 10 a.m. on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.